I said they must be joking. Look at me cool and calm, collected, yeah, I'm coasting. You ain't stop me, yeah, I got some motion. I got some motion.
Now, people hate AI for one reason or another, but this isn't that. This little DJ uses the voice of AI that isn't stolen, but licensed by someone, and in return gets paid. It should only be used as a tool and not a replacement, and it isn't a substitute for creativity. And if you have all the things I listed right here, you could build your own. Before anything else, download the Arduino IDE and a code editor of choice, as well as find your command line or terminal, depending on what computer you are on. Go ahead and plug in your Nano to the computer. Once you have done that, open up the IDE. Navigate to File, find Examples, select Basic, and choose the Bleed test. After you have done that, make sure you choose your correct board with the drop-down menu, and then click Verify and Upload. This is just to make sure that your Nano and everything else is working. You'll know it worked because you will see your Nano start to blink. Now time for assembly. You will have two 3-wide wired female ends. They are color-coded brown for ground, red for power, and orange for in and out. With your jumper wires, find male-to-male equivalent colors for writing brown, and a male to female for orange. Then plug them in. Now let's take a look at the Nano. There are a lot of pins on the Nano, but for this project we only need 3. D10 pin for tilt, D9 pin for pan, and G and D pin for ground. Now for power, I will be using 4 rechargeable AA's for around a total of 4.8 volts of power that are all stored in an on and off switch case that has positive and negative leads coming out the back. Now before someone opens up the comments and start fiercely typing about
rechargeable AA's batteries straight into an SG90 servo is basically an act of mechanical betrayal. The poor little servo, expecting a calm and steady 5 volts of dignity, what was he thinking? Instead it gets slammed with the chaotic, sagging voltage roller coaster output of that stupid NIMH cell that can't decide if it's 1.2 volts or 0.9 volts. I bet he failed Calc 3. He did like twice, but but he passed. Yeah, well, what about DDQ? Actually, a B, pretty decent. Well, I bet he's come to thermo and he's not even no, you're right, he didn't go any further.
According to the Amazon listing, the server is a SG90, so that means that it's rated for 4.8 volts, which is what we have. Is it steady? No. Will it sag? Sure. Does the listing say it has anti-stall and anti-gear stripping that probably doesn't prevent any overheating and damage? Also true. But I like the power switch. Now just to take a quick look at our power situation for the Nano and the servos. The Mac Mini steady 5 volts will power the Nano and the 4 AA's will power the servo. Once powered, the servos will want 4.8 volts at least, and the Nano will start sending and receiving PWM signals through our 10 and 9 pins on the Nano to create movement. Both the Mac Mini and the Nano will share a ground with our battery pack. Now that we have all of that out of the way, plug all red wires into the red positive rail, and the black wires into the blue negative rail. There are some good visuals and sample code for your servo movement on the Arduino website, and once you have found one or wrote a code that you like, upload it to your Nano. But there is a problem with the servos. The servos don't know what angle to stop on in either axis. You have to find out how far you want to turn left and right. So if you wrote something like this, then by using your WASD keys, you can find what angle that you'd like to start and the max it can tilt and pan. I found 100 pan and 40 tilt to be a good starting position. This is my DJ. So to build it, I cut off the top bracket piece and sanded it down. And I used the command strips to hold the DJ in place. Now earlier we talked about the servo's inability to remember positions. We found where we would like it to start, but it forgets every single time it's turned off. So with something like this, it snaps into position before anything else. It is aggressive, but that can be lowered with some delays as the servos won't have a smooth motion since it just lacks power. Now what you're about to see is atrocious. Bad soldering, bad word work, the whole thing. Just bad. I did manage to splice, solder, and heat shrink everything together. Does it look good? No. Does it work? For the most part. The only thing I did like was how I mounted the bracket. That part was decent. And with everything together, you get this, the finest woodwork and craftsmanship you have ever seen. I even made a cutout for the off and on switch and managed some cables. All jokes aside, I could have learned a free CAD software and design an enclosure with holes for the wires, mounting screws, and a place where I can add another layer to hide all the wires. But I don't have a 3D printer, and if I did, I wouldn't have room for it. Finally, time for the AI. Now we can download a full working AI like Phi 3 from Olama and have a DJ with a complete and sophisticated AI conversation with that lives locally on your computer so you aren't destroying the water resources of the world. Maybe later, but for now, no. We will, however, be using ElevenLabs, which is where people have consented to using their voice for text-to-speech. And, like how some music apps have a DJ voice, I think I found the perfect one.
What's up, besties? You're tuned into my radio station where the vibes are chaotic, but the playlist, immaculate.
There is a lot of legal documentation about this and what they're doing with these creators' voices, but the main part is this. You keep your rights to your input and output, but you grant ElevenLabs a broad license, perpetual, irrevocable, worldwide, sub-licensable, royalty-free to use your content, including your voice, to run, improve, and build new products and services. They won't sell or commercialize your voice standalone without your permission. You can opt out of having your consent used for AI training via the account settings and request deletion of the voice models. I do like how you can opt out of training within the settings itself, so you don't have to if you don't want to. The only reason I'm using this is because people's voices are licensed, meaning they get paid for having their voice used. It seems like you can set your own rates as well. Obviously, this isn't a substitute for voice actors or creative auditory media, but for this project, I think it works well. Once you found a voice, be sure to copy the voice ID and API key, which you do need to pay for. The last thing that we will need before coding is to download some stuff. You will need to download Blackhole, and the PC equivalent is a VB cable or voice meter, as well as some other stuff. You will need to download all of these now before we get into coding. Now, if something doesn't work, slap the error message into Google and find the answers, because there's most likely be some issues. Once everything is installed and it gives no errors, go ahead and restart your computer. Then you're going to go to your audio MIDI app, add a multiple output device, be sure to select Blackhole and your speakers of choice. Then you will go to your sound output in your settings and select multiple output device. Now you slap some code together, and there's a lot here, so I can provide the full documentation if someone does want it. But once you have everything ready and you bash your code, mine was in my downloads apparently, then it should do something like this.
Hey, what's up, Anthony? Ready to listen to some music? Let's go.
I thrown you off.
Next song up, Promiscuous
Didn't think so.
feat Timbaland by Nelly Furtado.
So it works exactly how it's supposed to. It detects BPM, and based on that, it has a set of moves. At a higher BPM, it will move a lot. But what if a song didn't have a high BPM?
Next song up, Last of a Dying Breed by Joji.
If the BPM is too low, it doesn't move, but it also detects RMS, which is the root mean square, and detects the level of audio. And as you see here, it's repeating the same moves, since it's seeing the same patterns over and over. Maybe sometime in the future, it will have a well-built container and cable management, add some voice controls and some better dance move, but I think it's okay for now.